So guys, you really need to focus even more on your nutrition and be more careful about what you're eating. Hey guys, I'm Mark McKillier with Live Anabolic, and today I want to talk to you about how to help your body heal faster after an injury. And I think it's really kind of more important now that we're getting old. I mean, everybody on here, I don't have to tell you that things just don't work as well as they did when we were in our 20s. And healing is one of those things. And so when I say injury, there's lots of different types of injuries, okay, guys? And I have 5 tips today. And the last tip is really going to surprise you. It definitely surprised me. It even surprised the scientists that were doing the studies. So, you know, injuries can be anything from pulled muscles to broken bones to damaged joints, you know, knees, shoulders, and even cuts and abrasions and things like that. Tendinitis, you know, our ligaments, our tendons, you know, everything. You know, is always breaking. And I'm not, if you're like me, then you're probably in a constant state of recovery. Now, some of these recoveries is not necessarily an injury. Remember, I'm just telling you how to heal your body faster. So some of them, you're just recovering from your workouts. And especially you guys that are really busting your butt and working hard, okay? You guys are really gonna like this because when you work out really, really hard, you damage your body. You create millions of microscopic tears in your muscle fibers, which in turn cause inflammation, and of course, you know, all that, you know, kind of results in soreness and feeling tired and everything. So stick around. I got 5 tips for you, and you know, I spent several hours researching this topic today, and I was surprised about a few of these. You know, a couple of them I think you're gonna have already known, but a couple of them also, especially the last one, really kind of blew me away. All right, so tip number 1 is fairly obvious, but I think a lot of people might just skip over it. They might not really give it enough thought because everybody is thinking, you know, ice, right? Or take some pills, you know, like Advil or Aleve. Number 1 is eat healthier. So one of the things that we tend to do when we get injured, and just about any injury, right? It might be exhaustion from working yourself really, really hard, you know, in that exercise or that workout that day, or it might be just from, you know, breaking your leg or something like that, or pulling a muscle. And that is, we tend to just kind of eat crappy. We want to eat comfort food, all right? So we want to feel better. And of course, feeling better a lot of times leads a bunch of men to just eating crap, okay? So comfort foods, sugary stuff, junk food, you know, all the above is stuff that's really going to screw up the healing process. So guys, you really need to focus even more on your nutrition and be more careful about what you're eating. And then also really focus on trying to get more protein than you normally would. Because remember, your body uses protein, all right, to help repair all the damaged muscle fibers in your body. So things like eggs, fish, meat, chicken, even protein powders, you know, supplements. So guys, really try to get more protein and avoid the junk food and the comfort foods when you get hurt. All right, tip number 2, guys, would be to eat anti-inflammatory foods. And man, there's a whole bunch of them. It gets kind of complicated. Let me think. Berries, turmeric, ginger, peppers. You know, there's just lots of different foods, natural foods that we can eat that help our body reduce inflammation. They're just anti-inflammatory. And, you know, the problem is, you know, it's hard to get all that stuff in your system, all right? And if you're really motivated and love cooking and shopping and all that kind of stuff, more power to you. I'm the exact opposite, okay? Especially when I'm injured, okay? I really don't want to go through any extra effort, and that means drive to the grocery store and, you know, stock everything in the refrigerator and then cook. So this is the simple little trick. This is the lazy man way of doing it, and that is just try a supplement. And I would recommend our Testo Grain supplement because it's got a lot of those anti-inflammatory foods in them. Matter of fact, if you click on the link below, it'll take you to our website. But but don't just go buy it. I'm not just telling you just to buy it, read about it. Our website has a wonderful write-up, and there's like 34 different ingredients that are basically different fruits and vegetables and mushroom extracts that are in this thing. And all those really help with your body's hormone productions and help fight off inflation, basically. So it's one of those deals that I urge you to actually try, and it's not necessarily something you would just think about right off the top of your head, okay? And if it doesn't work for you, that's fine. Just let us know. We'll refund your money. We've got by far and away the best guarantee in the entire nutrition business. I promise, guys. But you know, I wouldn't have necessarily thought of our Testo Green supplement as being something to help your body heal faster. But once I started doing the research and looking into all these kind of anti-inflammatory foods that they recommend you eat, I'm like, it's just too much trouble. It's just easier to try a supplement. So tip number 3 is just the flip side of tip number 2. So tip number 2 was to eat more anti-inflammatory foods. Tip number 3 is eat less inflammatory foods. So, yeah, but what causes inflammation? What types of food do that? Well, number one worst thing that you gotta avoid is sugar, refined sugar. Okay, totally get rid of that. No more sweets, guys. I mean, I really don't want you eating sugar any time, but especially when you're really feeling run down and beat up and your body is just kind of inflamed and you're kind of sore or you're trying to get over some kind of an injury. Skip the sugar, okay? That's that kind of junk food, you know, that goes back to tip number 1. And other inflammatory foods that you should try to avoid are things like, well, they're all really refined foods, all right? So refined foods like bread and pasta and cereal, beer, that's a bummer, pastries, even fried foods are really bad for you when it comes to inflammation, excuse me. They really can cause that to get worse. And then of course, you know, all the sodas, all the, you know, the Coca-Colas and that kind of stuff are real high in refined sugar. So number 3, eat less inflammatory foods, but you first have to know what inflammatory foods are. All right, number 4 is something called mindset. And when I say mindset, it's just really trying to avoid stress, unnecessary stress. Now, the stress might not be related to your injury, okay? It might be related to your family, your finances, work, whatever. I don't care. Because when you have a lot of stress in your life, your body produces a hormone called cortisol. It's the stress hormone. And cortisol in and of itself is really inflammatory, okay? And so remember, we're trying to lower inflammation in our body so that it heals faster from whatever injury that we're talking about. And it's not just an injury, it could be just, you know, a really tough workout. So the other thing that cortisol does besides cause inflammation, it actually lowers your body's ability to produce testosterone. And that's a double whammy because your body uses testosterone to repair damaged muscle fibers, all right? And it could be damaged muscle fibers caused by just a really good hard workout or damaged muscle fibers caused by a pulled muscle or some other type of injury. So guys, just chill out. Number 4 is chill. All right, so the last one today, number 5, is the one that I told you surprised me the most and is probably going to surprise you too, and that is sleep. I don't think I would have ever thought about that, but you know, in doing my research today, you know, that was a biggie that came up several times. And sleep really does influence your body's ability to repair itself, okay? It influences your ability to grow tissue. And I'm not just talking about muscle mass, I'm talking about bone and ligaments and tendons, okay? And this is something that one of the studies these scientists did that really surprised them. And they said that sleep is more important to healing your body than good nutrition. That blew me away. So anyway, you know, sleep, for some reason, it's just got lots of really good benefits. And I know it's easier said than done, guys. But try even harder than normal when you're really trying to recover from whatever's ailing your body to get plenty of sleep. And then remember, Number 4 was talking about cortisol. Well, the more sleep you get, the lower your cortisol levels get. So number 5, and sleep affects you in more than just one way. So guys, all these things are just little tiny, things. You may not be able to do all of them, right? But remember, just every little trick, and tip kind of builds on top of the other ones, and it's kind of a cumulative process. So if you can figure out a way to get some of these 5 tips into your life on a regular basis, because we're kind of, our bodies are always healing, really. Something's always happening. I'm always recovering from some type of an injury. And if I paid more attention and took my own advice more often, I promise I would heal a lot faster. But it ain't gonna work unless you stick with it and never give up on yourself.